In ancient times, mistletoe was surrounded by myths and folklore. It was regarded as a cure for epilepsy and ulcers, a remedy for poisons and infertility, and a talisman against getting killed in battle. Well, so much for the ancient myths, but there's one modern myth I'd like to do something to dispel, and that's the myth that mistletoe kills gum trees. In a natural situation, it doesn't. Those dead and dying eucalypts we sometimes see, covered with clumps of mistletoe, are usually standing on land that's been interfered with in some way. The fact is that out in the bush, eucalypts and mistletoes have been coexisting for millions of years. You could say they've become quite attached to each other. And when you go into it, you find that a tree and its mistletoe actually form the nucleus of a fascinating community of species that are all dependent on each other. Let's have a look at some of them. These are mistletoe flowers, one of many different kinds. Later on, they'll turn into a mass of small, succulent fruits. This is a mistletoe bird. It feeds almost entirely on the mistletoe fruits, and the mistletoe is dependent on it for survival. These are Jezebel butterflies. Because their caterpillars feed on mistletoe leaves, they're dependent on the mistletoe and on the tree that supports it and on the bird that, well, let's see exactly what the bird does. Now, most fruit-eating birds help to disperse seeds by defecating on the ground. But this wouldn't do for mistletoes because they grow in trees. So the mistletoe birds spread their seeds in the proper place by voiding their wastes against the branch of a tree. The flesh of the mistletoe fruits is digested by the bird in the usual way, but the seeds pass straight through and come out unchanged at the other end. The seeds have a glutinous outer covering like contact adhesive. They only have to touch the branch where the bird puts them to stick fast. Not all the seeds take hold and not all of them germinate. Those that do will quickly tap into the tree's sap flow. These young plants will replace older mistletoes as they die. Mistletoes usually have a shorter lifespan than their hosts, and it's common to find dead mistletoes in living trees. So this is the way it goes. The mistletoe feeds the bird spreads the mistletoe to a new tree, the mistletoe obtains food and a place in the sun from its tree. The tree, if healthy, tolerates its guest and obtains fertilizer from the organisms that feed on it. The mistletoe survives its annual pruning by the caterpillars, and thanks to a little bird, each new generation of mistletoe butterflies has an assured food supply. I think mistletoes and their flowers would be better appreciated if they grew just a little bit closer to the ground. Do you know there are more than 70 different kinds of mistletoe in Australia? They grow on rainforest trees, on she oaks and wattles and eucalypts, and there's even a mistletoe that only grows on other mistletoes. As for that tiny jewel, the mistletoe bird, well, there's only one of those, and it lives everywhere in Australia, from the tropics to the snow country to the arid outback, and always in association with those fascinating, diverse, and much maligned plants, the mistletoes.